Hi, Keith Koo, host of Silicon Valley Insider here at Blockchain Expo North America. I'm with Lionel Chocron, who is the Chief Product Officer for Hedera Hashgraph. Welcome, Lionel.
Thank you very much.
So Lionel, exciting time for Hedera Hashgraph. You just had your release in September.
Yes, exciting time. We've been in the market as an open access network for, I don't want to say anything stupid, about 8 weeks, so it's pretty short, but exciting new start in terms of adoption already, reaching a level of adoption that we didn't expect, within the first few weeks. So it's a very good start. Yeah.
So those who follow my show know that I'm totally about blockchain as a technology. Sure. Now I know, Hedera does not consider itself a blockchain.
Yeah.
So what are the differences between what Hedera thinks it is and a blockchain? I know there's similarities and differences.
Sure. So from a technology perspective, we are not a blockchain per se. We are a distributed ledger, and we are based on a technology called Hashgraph, which is a very innovative way to be able to gossip information and get virtual voting on data in a very, very fast way, so that at any point of time, each node will be able to see all the information that all the other nodes got transacted with, and be able to make a decision to reach consensus or not on a transaction, and doing it using a very, very small load of data to share. And by doing so, we can propagate the information to all the nodes and get what we call virtual voting very fast. So what it gives us pretty high performance in throughput, up to 10,000 transactions today. We throttled at 10,000 transactions on the network today. We can do it by reaching 100% fidelity in a few seconds, which is pretty unique in the market. We do it at very low cost because the bandwidth and the load of information we need to share across the network being very low. Each transaction itself is not using a lot of the resources of the network, so we can keep the cost of a transaction to be of a penny for typical crypto transactions.
So what Lionel's talking about is super important, because as we've talked about on previous shows, as people have gotten familiar with first Bitcoin, which is a generation 1 blockchain, or something like Ethereum, which is considered generation 2, both of those platforms had scalability and cost issues, whether it was energy, whether it was scalability. And so when we talk about what's considered generation 3 in blockchain and distributed ledger, being able to effectively do high number of transactions and high frequency is super important, especially when you compare that to financial services.
Exactly. And that's what the market is calling the third generation. If you think of Bitcoin being the first generation, second generation being the Ethereum generation, the third generation is actually solving natively on the ledger, on one shard, the performance and scalability issues that the market is trying to solve in other generation of technology. So that's a very exciting time. And on top of it, one key element, since your show is about blockchain for the enterprises, a key differentiator we have also is the governance. The way we have decided that this network will be governed by 39 global organizations. So instead of being governed by a community of developers, and not really understanding who's making what decision, we decided that, if we want to bring the trust to the enterprises, that network is governed in a direction that's going to enable use cases for the enterprises. We actually have started to create a membership of big corporations. We have 9 companies already on the council, and a few others that are already lined up, and we'll announce them over time. But there are companies like IBM, Boeing, Nomura, which is a major Japanese bank, Dutch Telecom, and so forth. 9 global corporations are already involved and governing on the day-to-day, which means running a node. They are taking part of running the network itself.
So this is very interesting, because we're still in the third generation speak. And last year, 2018, a lot of focus was on EOS, and EOS is launching the mainnet and their delegated proof of stake, and they have 21 block producers. And it's kind of gotten off to a rocky start, but that's where the concept of council, in this case block producers. As technology continues to try to improve and we all learn from each other, What did Hedera do differently in order to avoid some of the constraints or concerns around EOS?
So first of all, it's a proof of stake model, and as I said, the first thing we've done, I think correctly, and I kudos to the co-founder of the company and Dr. Lehman Baird, the chief scientist of the company, is really to come up natively with a consensus algorithm that is addressing the scalability and security issues natively at the protocol layer, which means we are enabling a lot of the performance and the scalability the market wanted to natively. The second piece is a governance council. In our view, bringing global companies to be able to run the nodes and direct the feature, the roadmap, manage the treasury, set the pricing in a direction that's going to be stable. And the stability component is a third component that I want to bring forward because a lot of I come from the enterprise world. I was at Oracle before, at Cisco before. At Oracle, I was leading the emerging technology industry solution for big companies. So blockchain was one of them, and we had a lot of big corporations, as you can imagine, embracing private ledger. And their scare of public ledger was stability. I mean, security and other. Stability was a big thing. So, is it going to fork once and 3 times and 10 times? How do we make sure we have visibility into the roadmap so that if we make an investment and we move a workload on your network, then we have a predictability into how it's going to evolve. And by governing it with global companies and controlling our technical side, we guarantee no forking, which is a key component which small and large companies care about because they are investing in innovating on proof of concept.
Yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of companies who tried to do this on their own with Generation 2 blockchains did run into these issues, and what
Absolutely.
do you do when the price fluctuations are so high? So I think it's been excellent. Lionel, I'd love to have you come on the show sometime.
Absolutely.
So
thank you for the invitation.
Lionel Chocron, Head of Product for Hedera Hashgraph, Keith Koo, Silicon Valley Insider at Blockchain Expo. See you soon.